Hey guys, welcome back in. We're going to be reading John chapter 3 today. Going to stick with the World English Bible. I may switch it up in the future, but for now, I'm liking the wording. I'm also liking on my iPad, I don't know if you can see this, but oh, you can, good. um, it's a red letter translation, and not every translation on the Bible app is red letter. So I like that. It's a personal preference. That may be distracting for you, and that's okay. If it's distracting, it makes it more difficult for you to read, please get something that makes it easier for you to read and comprehend. There's a really, really great Bible called the Clear Focus Bible that's designed for people with neurodivergencies like ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, etc. It's written on kind of an off-white paper, and it's not quite solid black ink. It's like a blue-black ink. It's double spaced, and it's written in what they call the bionic reading method. So some of the letters are bold print and some of the letters are regular print to help your eye stay focused on the page and on the words, so that way you don't skip over lines and skip to sections or have to reread things. It helps you focus a little bit better. So that might be a really good investment for you to make. I bought one for my nephew. He has dyslexia and dysgraphia. I'm also horrifically dyslexic. So is my dad. So it definitely runs in the family. But I bought one for my nephew, and I think he's getting a lot out of it. I need to talk to him about it. I haven't talked to him about it in a while. But I want to invest in one for myself, but they don't have a lot of translations right now. I know they have the NIV. I think they have the NLT. NIV is New International Version. NLT is New Living Translation, which is what my Spiral Bible is. I know they have the NIRV, which is the New International Reader's Version. And the difference between NIV and NIRV. NIV is about a 6th grade level. NIRV is about a 3rd grade level. Which, hey, no hate on anything if you need it broken down a little bit more. There's nothing wrong with that. The importance is that you're reading the Bible and you're understanding what you're reading. You can always go back and reread. Like, I personally love the NASB, North American Standard Bible, New American Standard Bible. I don't remember. I'll put it here. I love the Amplified version because they're very close, like word for word translations. Amplified also gives you in brackets and in parentheses additional meaning behind the words that were translated, because Hebrew and Greek and Latin do not have perfect translations into English for certain words and phrases. So we got to do the best that we can. And I am not one of those super duper smart people that has taught themselves Hebrew and Greek yet. So I'm getting there, but I haven't yet. So we're going to be reading John chapter 3. Again, World English Bible. I might change it up later, but this particular translation in my app is red letter, and I like the wording, so let's get into it. Now there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. He came to Jesus by night and said to him, "Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him." Jesus answered him, "Most certainly I tell you, unless one is born anew, he can't see God's kingdom." Nicodemus said to him, "How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter a second time into his mother's womb and be born?" Jesus answered, "Most certainly I tell you, unless one is born of water and spirit, he can't enter into God's kingdom. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the spirit is spirit. Don't marvel that I said to you, you must be born anew. The wind blows where it wants to, and you hear its sound, but you don't know where it comes from and where it is going. So is everyone who is born of the Spirit." Nicodemus answered him, "How can these things be?" And Jesus answered him, "Are you the teacher of Israel and don't understand these things? Most certainly I tell you, we speak that which we know and testify of that which we have seen, and you don't receive our witness. If I told you earthly things and you don't believe, how will you believe if I tell you heavenly things? No one has ascended into heaven but he who descended out of heaven, the Son of Man, who is in heaven. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only born Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God didn't send his Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world should be saved through him. He who believes in him is not judged. He who doesn't believe has been judged already, because he has not believed in the name of the only born Son of God. This is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their works were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light and doesn't come to the light, lest his works would be exposed. But he who does the truth comes to the light, that his works may be revealed, that they have been done in God. After these things, Jesus came with his disciples into the land of Judea. He stayed there with them and baptized. John was also baptizing in Enon, near Salim, because there was much water there. They came and were baptized, for John was not yet thrown into prison. Therefore, a dispute arose on the part of John's disciples with some Jews about purification. They came to John and said to him, Rabbi, he who was with you beyond the Jordan, to whom you have testified, behold, he baptizes, and everyone is coming to him. John answered, A man can receive nothing unless it has been given to him from heaven. You yourselves testify that I said, I am not the Christ, but I have been sent before him. He who has the bride is the bridegroom. But the friend of the bridegroom, who stands and hears him, rejoices greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. Therefore my joy is made full. He must increase, but I must decrease. He who comes from above is above all. He who is from the earth belongs to the earth and speaks of the earth. He who comes from heaven is above all. What he has seen and heard, of that he testifies, and no one receives his witness. He who has received his witness has set his seal to this, that God is true. For he whom God has sent speaks the words of God, for God gives the Spirit without measure. The Father loves the Son, and has given all things into his hand. One who believes in the Son has eternal life, but one who disobeys the Son won't see life, but the wrath of God remains on him. So that was John chapter 3. Again, another shorter chapter, but of course, the most well-known verse of the Bible, John 3:16, is in this chapter. Jesus was speaking to Nicodemus, who in The Chosen is... Get the fuzzies off my shirt. In The Chosen, Nicodemus is portrayed by Eric Avari, one of my favorite actors. He does a beautiful job. If you have not seen season 1, you need to watch it because he does a great job as Nicodemus. And also at the end of season 1, there's a beautiful exchange, not directly between Jesus and Nicodemus, but between Jesus and Nicodemus on screen. It's beautiful. It's heartbreaking. But in that nice, full, like it's God breaking your heart. Because it's something that broke his. Really, really great scene. And again, if you don't like The Chosen, if it's not a show that you enjoy, or if, like with my dad, he grew up in a missionary's household. My grandfather's a missionary. He was immersed in the Bible his entire life. It's one of the only books that he's read multiple times. I think the only book he's read multiple times. So he knows the story well. He understands the story. He likes The Chosen, but it's not something he seeks to watch just for fun. I thoroughly enjoy it, but again, I didn't have that same immersion that he did. But yeah, we've got John 3:16, and John 3:15 pretty much is the short and sweet version of it. John 3:15 says that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. Like, that's the whole verse. And of course, one of my absolute favorite verses is 3:17. For God did not send his Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world should be saved through him. In New King James, it says condemned instead of judged. I prefer that translation, not judged, but condemned, because condemnation is more, I don't want to say more severe, but people can have judgmental attitudes and not be condemning somebody. They can think less of what they're doing, but they may not necessarily actively condemn them. Which, of course, in the Bible, Jesus says if you thought about it, you might as well have committed it when it comes to sin. But I just think using that word condemn and condemnation, it gives it a little bit more weight. But that's just a personal preference. The message is still clearly understood, in my opinion, in this translation. But yeah, 3:17 is my favorite. God didn't send his son into the world to condemn the world, but to save it. Jesus is here to save us. And the further we go into the Gospels, in John, in Matthew, and Mark, we've seen it in Luke, if you read along with me in December, Jesus doesn't condemn people. He doesn't condone their sin, but he does not condemn them for having done it. The only people that he actively says anything harsh or negative towards, that he acts, I don't want to say without compassion, but he's least compassionate towards, are the Pharisees and the Sadducees. You know, in the New Living Translation, the leaders of religious law and the teachers of religious law. That's the people that he really gets on. Like, he gets on their case. He gets onto them a lot. And I think it's because he's holding them accountable. They're supposed to be the learned people. They're supposed to be the teachers. And they're getting it wrong in a lot of aspects. They're focusing on the wrong things. They're focusing on the rules and not the relationship. And that's another reason why I wanted to start with the Gospel of John is, again, my personal belief, my understanding from the information I have about John, what I've read about John, the books written by him. He was like Jesus' best friend. He approaches his gospel. He's telling a story about his best friend. And you can really tell, in my opinion, that that's where it's coming from. And that's what I want to focus on with this reading and learning more about the Bible. This is having a relationship with God is what's important. Yes, following the rules are important too. He gave us rules for a reason, but focus on the relationship and let him guide you to specific convictions that you will have, like specific things that you can or cannot do. Because yeah, there's the blanket 10 commandments, there's the basic rules, and then there's over 600 rules in Leviticus and Deuteronomy from Moses. And a lot of it has to do with uncleanliness. But following the rules, honoring your mother and father, not murdering people, not lying, not stealing, not testifying, like not bearing false witness against your neighbor. Like that's lying, but it's also intentional deceit. Those things. That's the big rules, the moral compass of the world, if you will. But at the end of the day, God still wanted a relationship with us. When he created the garden, when he created Adam and gave Adam Eve, it was about relationship. He wanted to spend time with Adam in the garden. That was the point. It wasn't so Adam followed all these rules. It was so that Adam had a safe place to be and for God to be able to visit and spend time with him. That's what God's wanted all along with all of us. But yeah, again, short, sweet, to the point. Chapter 3 is, again, probably the most popular chapter. The most well-known verses come from John chapter 3. And my favorite verse from this chapter, again, is 3:17. So I think it's pretty significant. But let's keep on keeping on. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have had a great few days. I hope you're enjoying this reading. And if you want a different translation, put a comment down below. I will happily switch it up. I don't mind. In the meantime, stay blessed, stay bold. I'll see you in the next one.